Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Royal Instinct. Today we are watching, doing a deep dive on the Clintons. Okay, the Clinton files, Hillary and Bill. Okay, two mainstays in American politics. Okay, the face of 90s America, right? The face of the opposition to Trump. One of the main reasons why Trump managed to win because the Democrats elected such a horrible opposite leader in Hillary. Okay, um, are they politicians? Are they gangsters? Why does everybody around the Clintons seem to die of suicide? It is very strange. It is very dubious, weird circumstances that we are investigating today. Okay, we are diving deep to uncover the truth, as always, because that is what we do. This is the only place in the world where you will find the truth, the only place in the world where I will tell you as it is. Okay, how lucky are you to be listening to my fucking voice, letting me tell you what is happening in the world? And why am I doing this shit? Okay, why am I coming on every day making a fucking live stream, which seem to be getting longer and longer? um, why am I doing this? This is a bat signal. This is me sending out a message to the world. This is me assembling the Avengers. Okay, there are 10 billion people in the world. I am looking for 100 people, people who understand what it is that I'm saying, who understand what it is that I'm doing. Okay, because I'm doing something very unique, something that has never been done before. Okay, I am bringing together 100 kings, 100 heroes, 100 people who want to be in charge to overthrow the world governments, to overthrow people, the world elites. Because the people who are in charge right now, the people who are leading the world, are taking us towards a world where it's doom and gloom. Okay, they do not care about the everyday man. They do not care about humanity. They only care about their own bottom line, and it is mostly exemplified by the likes of the Clintons, who are in essence you know evil. Okay, who are who have not a single ounce of goodness in them. Okay, whether it is by design or whether they have been corrupted by their years in politics, or is it the case that being so many years in politics that you just end up jaded anyway, that you kind of work out that, oh, the world is fucked, I might as well just make a bag, right? Like, is it all about just thinking, okay, I'm just going to now accumulate resources, because no matter what I do, the world is fucked. Okay, the evil elites are going to be eating children, right? We are going to continuously traffic women, young children all across the globe. Is that the world that we find ourselves in, right? And that is what we are here to explore. That is what we are here to oppose. That is what we are doing. Let's jump into this video straight away.
Over the past 40 years, there have been few surnames as dominant as Clinton. Led by the husband and wife duo that was once self-destructed as two presidents in one, the pair went from dominating regional politics to taking on the biggest office.
I mean, when it comes to Bill Clinton, you have to realize, like, he was, the most incredibly charismatic president anybody's ever had. Now, what made him charismatic? It was literally just his image. Okay, that he curated his image, that he was this, young man from Arkansas. That he was just somebody who, you know, like a boy next door, incredibly, like a good listener, a good communicator, somebody who cared and listened, which the previous presidents, H Bush, okay, H Bush, no, George George Bush, right? Yeah, George Bush Senior, George Poppy Bush. Who was more removed, more part of the system. Okay, who was more more establishment. Whereas this guy was kind of like, he was the everyday man, right? And because he had this reputation, people believed in him, right? He was like the second coming of JFK, right? A lot of his the way he presented himself was very reminiscent of JFK, and he was somebody that a lot of people have pinned their hopes on. But in the end, the truth, the facade ended up falling, and we got to see his true colors.
Office in American politics. First, you had Bill, the charismatic leader who swept into the Oval Office in a landslide.
And little tidbits like this, right? Let me just minimize myself. Little tidbits like this, like him playing the saxophone, okay, him having somebody else kind of gyrating, dancing in the Oval Office, where he's just like kind of like makes his eyes big, thinking to himself like, what the fuck's going on? Yeah, it was very 90s. It is very new age, modern. It was very right, because before, media didn't have the same reach as it previously did, and this is a guy that kind of leaned into it. And if you really think about it, right, like all the presidents who have been successful throughout the years, they kind of end up leaning into um, the technology of the time, right? I mean, JFK, obviously, he made the most of his TV appearances, radio appearances. Yeah, the way that he projected his voice, the way that he spoke. Um, the way that he was broadcast onto the American people, right, right. Bill Clinton is somebody, who is making use of kind of like a lot of his content was kind of breaking the third wall, right, the fourth wall, kind of peeking behind the screen, giving like little reactions like that. I mean, this saxophone appearance is like, like a Jimmy Fallon type situation. I think at the time, David Letterman, Jay Leno type situation that you find yourself in. Late night TV show, Carson, him being a man of the people, right? And that is the image that he gave himself. And Donald Trump done the same, by the way, right? Like he had Twitter available to him, and he fucking made them use, the most use of that, which allowed his reach to grow further and further. And that is what successful presidents do.
Then there's his wife, a lawyer turned former presidential candidate in her own right, who has never
Again, like Hillary Clinton, especially at the time, was seen as a very modern woman. Okay, a very strong, independent feminist. A very inspiring lady who married, the president of the world, of the world, of the United States. Somebody who a lot of women identified with, right? And even during the time of, obviously, we're going to go through this later. You know, Bill Clinton's very first scandal, right? His affairs with Monica Lewinsky, the way that she conducted herself, a lot of women gave her credit. A lot of women applauded her for how she, reacted to that situation, because she was a victim and people sympathized with her. But over the years, that sympathy kind of waned, and she became this annoying, Karen type lady that people didn't really associate with anymore.
quite reached that top spot, but has enjoyed a fruitful career all the same.
I'd love to meet the person who makes your pantsuits.
Oh, really?
Have you thought about what you're going to be wearing at the debates?
I have no idea.
Do you wonder what your opponent might be wearing? I mean, wouldn't...
I assume he'll wear, that red power.
And this is the problem with Hillary, right? Like the reason why she lost, okay? The reason why she lost is because she underestimated Trump, right? She painted Trump to be the silly little man. And the thing is, when you paint out your opponent to be very weak, very silly, right? It makes you look too powerful, right? If you if you have an opposition, right? Whoever is your opposition, whether you could beat them within 1 round or 12 rounds, okay? You need to tell the world, whoever you are, who your opposition is, that they are the toughest, villain. They're the toughest person that you could face in battle. Okay. Why is that? Because you're covered on both sides. Okay. Because if you lose, right, you already preemptively told the world how, tough this person is. And by acknowledging that they're very tough, right, to beat, that they're very strong, you kind of humble yourself and acknowledge their strengths. right? And when you do beat them, right, it makes you look even more powerful, right? That you thought that that you were quite equal and that you overcame that person. But because if you are, if you are equally matched, right, and it's a battle when you win, right, like everybody will love you. But if you are unevenly matched and you're so great and this person's so weak and you overcome them, um, even if you win, you kind of look stupid for being in a fight of someone of you know of that type of strength. Okay, that if your skill level is so much better, it's not a fair fight, and nobody likes somebody who wins an unfair fight, right? And if you are somebody who mocks your opposition, you end up being the bully, right? And even people who supported Hillary, who because out of the two, Hillary was the sane person to kind of vote in, right? Even out of the two, Donald Trump was a loose cannon. Okay, he was a live wire. Um, Most rational people should have voted for Hillary, but she made herself so unlikable by these little jabs that she makes. Okay, that she inevitably lost.
Tie.
Or maybe like a white power tie.
That's even more appropriate.
Do you get what I mean? Like saying, "Oh, okay, Donald Trump's a racist." Like, ha ha ha. Look, if he is a racist, if he's not, right? You can't be hitting down, right? Because that's the problem with the world, right? That the rich are kind of beating down on the poor. The people in power are beating down on the people without power. Nobody likes that, and what Hillary should have done in that instance is be like, oh no, I wouldn't say that. Not white power. Donald. He is a very formidable character. He's a very formidable person. Some of his policies are, maybe outlined and alienating a lot of the American people, especially if you're from a marginalized minority background. However, I want to come in and I want to just reassure the American people that, whatever your background is, whatever your creed, color, social status, whatever your situation in life is, that I'm here for you, that I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to be a very nurturing president. I'm going to be somebody who is going to elevate the office of American president to something that has never been done before, because I will be the first woman to accomplish such a feat. And even though the supporters, people who like Donald Trump and they're voting for him, it is your right as an American to do so. But I encourage you to explore my policies, and maybe me and you together, we can launch a new opportunity for the American people, for the United States on a global stage, and usher in a new 100-year supremacy as the supreme superpower over the globe, which is what I will be residing from, which is what I'll be starting again. And this is history in the making, and I want you to be a part of it. I mean, come on. This is what a beautiful speech I just made, right? What a beautiful speech I just made. And if Hillary said something similar, right, she would have gotten a landslide win. Okay, but she is arrogant. She is absolutely out of control, right? And the way that she looks down on her opponent and her opponent's supporters is what led her towards her downfall. And then you have this guy who's just like happy-go-lucky, fucking playing jazz music. And again, the fact that his instrument of choice was a saxophone, associated with jazz music. He was seen as this very black American, but black president. I mean, he was literally known to be the first black president of America, even though he's a white guy, right? Like, many people saw him as a representation, as a voice for African Americans, for minorities, for people from a disadvantaged background, because he was so charismatic, because he was a everyday man, and he was a very relatable, unlike his wife.
The big man.
Given how long they've been able to stay in the public eye, you'd maybe assume that they were beloved by the masses. But the truth seems to be that they're actually so entrenched in the system that some people fear that their power goes deeper than what we're permitted to see on the surface.
I didn't say anything for anything
No,
personal.
you didn't, but you had a great tone in your voice, and you're very good at it.
That's just
Thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
I mean, Bill Gates. I mean, Bill Clinton here. Any opportunity to try and flirt with a fucking woman. I mean, he's absolutely out of control, right? And this is what happens when you have a man in a position of power who, he doesn't get told no. You have to understand the Oval Office, being the president of the United States, the global superpower, right, in charge of the world. Being in that position gives you a feeling that a normal person's never felt before, right? And this is why I encourage my followers, the people that I work with, to become kings, right? Because only if you are a true leader, only if you are somebody who is, truly in the life purpose, leading a nation, leading a kingdom, right, that you ever get to experience this, right? Nobody can tell this guy no. Nobody can tell him no, okay? And this is why he is able. This is why he doesn't give a fuck. Even that, no, this guy's about 90 years old, right? He probably can't even get an erection. He's still willing to flirt because he believes he is, God's favorite son.
It is a compliment.
Thank you. And I did not go to Yale Law School or any law school for that matter.
After years of rumors and whispers behind the scenes, recent hearings regarding their conduct have made the world reassess what we know about the Clintons behind the scenes.
I mean, you just saw there that this guy can't even fucking lift a glass of water without his hand fucking shaking. Okay, whether it's arthritis, whether it is, just old age weakness, right? Like this guy's in this position, yet his mind still craves that power. Okay, his mind still believes that he's the most powerful man, especially when he walks around in everyday life and people still refer to him as Mr. President, right? I mean, it is absolutely wild. I mean, what does this say? Bill Clinton is smiling while looking back through old Epstein photos, nodding over memories. His attorney snatches them out Bill's hand. I mean, this is crazy, right? Like, he is on trial. He is, I believe he's testifying against the accusations made against him, and his involvement in the Epstein files. And he is, he's looking at the evidence and smiling, being like, "Oh, that was a fucking wild weekend. That's a wild week we had on fucking Little St. James with, our good friend Jeffrey." This is the person in charge of America, by the way. Okay, this is the person in charge of the world's biggest superpower, right? And he is enjoying every moment of the atrocities that he was involved with.
And let's just say that it's a really bad look.
Look, I mean, he's looking at the pictures. The fucking his lawyer snatches it out of his hand because it's not a fucking good look the way he's fucking creepily smiling at them, and then he snatches it back. He's like, "Fuck this, fuck you. I'm the one who's paying you. Give me the fucking evidence." Right? And he's just having it like he's treating this like it's a fucking laugh, like it is a good old time, a trip down memory lane. Yeah, I fucking remember me and Jeffrey. We fucking got a bunch of girls down to Little St. James, and the wild times that we fucking had. Woo, boy, you would not imagine.
Mr. President, we have about 5 minutes remaining in the majority's first hour.
I mean, this is an evil, evil smile. Right. I mean, his reputation is in tatters, and this is how powerful this guy is. He doesn't give a fuck. That is what you kind of have to remember with this guy. He does not give a fuck about this situation. He's like, yeah, whatever, man. I fucking done what I did, right? Allegedly, right? Famous words on this channel, allegedly. We done what we did. Nobody told us what the fuck to do, and nobody's gonna catch us. Okay, I can come here, I can look into your eye and just be like, yeah, I was not involved. And you will never find out what the truth was because maybe they were involved in Jeffrey Epstein's demise. Okay, his alleged suicide, his alleged death. Maybe Hill and Bill were involved, topping the guy off, right? allowing his demise. And I mean, just look how happy he is. This guy, not a normal person, by the way, would be frightened, literally fucking shitting their guts out, worried for the fate in their life. This guy's like, nope, I don't give a fuck. It was a good time, and I stand behind my entertainment that I had that weekend, the famous weekend with Epstein.
So I just want to ask you some questions related to the crimes committed by Mr. Epstein and Miss Maxwell.
It's your boy Luis, live from Lu Extras, and these are the Clinton files. If you didn't know, William Jefferson Clinton decided to become a politician after meeting JFK during a trip as a delegate for the
This is just the fakest Odyssey story, or is he a CIA plant, right? I mean, he met JFK in this, right? He's like, oh yeah, and he inspired me to become a president, right? So just because I met fucking Cristiano Ronaldo once, right, it didn't inspire me to go become a fucking footballer. Do you get what I mean? Like, it is absolutely crazy the way that these people construct this narrative, but it is the narrative that drives it. You have to understand, it is a narrative, the belief in manifest destiny that I look for a lot of these people, and a lot of the crowd that they end up buying into it. Okay, so always be wary of perfectly aligned circumstances, because everybody loves JFK. Everybody loves JFK. Okay, one of the most liked presidents in American history. His death, his assassination, very dubious, very shady. The the people who were behind it. Okay, the Lee Harvey Oswald assassination story. The the two bullet, the magic bullet conspiracy. I mean, you look into it, okay, it looks like it was an inside job. It looks like it was CIA. It looks like Pappy Bush was behind it, right? Because he was the head of the CIA at the time. I mean, read the book called Family of Secrets, and look at what the Bush involvement was in, the assassination of JFK, right? And the whole way that it unfolded, very tragic on national TV. The Americans, it was the first terrorist attack broadcasted on TV. I mean, obviously, people remember the famous footage from 9/11. I mean, I was like, I was still at school when I watched it, and it was horrific. It was, it was something unfathomable, right? Like, you couldn't believe that something like that could happen. And I imagine when something like the JFK assassination, when that happened and it was broadcast on TV, right? Again, many people couldn't fathom it. They couldn't see, they couldn't believe what happened, right? Because it's, you know, obviously, someone like Abraham Lincoln, for example, was assassinated. Okay, but it was never broadcast on TV, right? This is something that you read in a newspaper, the day after, and every little bit of information was kind of fed through journalists, spread out through newspapers. It doesn't have the same effect when you read secondhand accounts, but when you saw live footage of JFK being assassinated, when you saw a live footage of 9/11, those planes flying into the towers, like, you have just this mental image that you just cannot ever get out of your mind. And because, especially, I mean, during the 60s, right? And even, I mean, now we live in the social media world, and we can see, think about what is happening in Iran right now, and you're seeing images where, of attacks in Dubai, for example. You're seeing this happening in real time, and we're kind of desensitized to it. Whereas I remember when 9/11 happened, and you saw those images being broadcasted on BBC News, on just local news, all over the TV stations, right? It's something that you cannot ever imagine, right? It is like a fucking TV film, a movie being played out, like a scene in a movie. And many people, were very disturbed by it, very distraught. It really moved the whole world, right? And obviously, bring this back to JFK. People were very, very attached to his story, right? That he was assassinated, and him being kind of having this moment of meeting, JFK in real life and being inspired by JFK to go ahead and become president. For many people, it was like a reincarnation moment. Okay, it is like the passing of the baton. It is like a manifest destiny, like a movie scene, and a very great origin story happening in front of your eyes, that it is him, the chosen one, to become the president of the United States.
American Legion Boys Nation. After abandoning his dream
I mean, look at this picture. Hang on, let me just rewind it back. I mean, look at this picture
American
here.
Legion Boys Nation.
Like, yeah, look, you have a young Bill Clinton, meeting JFK face to face, and they kind of look alike as well. Do you know what I mean? They've got the same boyish look, right? Both good looking movie star looks, right? Charismatic. Yeah, I mean, it is for many people. Bill Clinton was JFK reincarnated.
After abandoning his dream of being a professional musician for a career in public office, his life took another
Oh no! I mean, he had two choices in life. It was either become become the president of the United States, or become a jazz musician playing saxophone on the fucking roads. Uh, I mean, they're both fun. They're both fun careers. That's what I'm gonna say. They're both fun careers. I've seen fucking Ray, right? I've seen Ray. They are both fun careers.
big turn when he met his Yale classmate Hillary Rodham, and as they progressed into public life, they immediately tried to build a picture of an idyllic relationship.
As much as I care about my work, my relationship with my wife, Hillary, means even more to me.
Sometimes
Oh, how sweet is that? Oh, as much as I care about my fucking work, my relationship with my sweet little Hillary means even fucking more. I mean, this is a demon. This is a driven woman who, she's not doing anything but fucking accident, all right? This is a very calculated, curated image that they're both trying to fucking portray.
people ask me what it's like being married to Bill. He works so hard and keeps such long hours and becomes involved in so many other people's lives and problems. I always tell them it's great. We really cherish the time we do have together and appreciate the fact each of us works hard.
But no matter how seamlessly they appeared to fit together, Bill always had appetites that he isn't exactly good at disguising.
His extracurricular activities here. I mean, this is him in the 80s, in the 90s. I mean, he's graying. He's got gray hair in this picture, right? And this is two. I mean, especially the girl on the fucking left. I mean, she looks like she is just a day after 18. I mean, come on. This is wild, this picture.
With a fellow Yale alumni recalling that he always moved like that.
Did I know he had been unfaithful in his marriage? Yes. He's a great flirt. I'll leave it at that.
I mean, that is how his victims describe him. This is how people who know him personally, that he is a great flirt. I mean, even when he's doing something creepy, even when he's doing something which he should not be doing, people still just use the word great, which is the power of having status, being the president. Even when you're fucking being a pervert, you're still described as a great flirt. I mean, it is wild.
And even as he's gotten older, this has never really subsided.
Hillary Clinton catches Bill staring at Ivanka Trump. I mean, that is fucking like, I mean, what's the age difference there? Do you get what I mean? Like, that is fucking crazy. Bill Clinton age. Let's have a look. Bill Clinton age. Is 79, right? And Ivanka Trump age is 44. I mean, so this is a lady half his age, right? 40 years younger, 45 years younger, right? That this guy's just staring at her like a fucking puppet, like licking his lips. Look at him. I mean, this is wild.
As they watch this moment.
Look at her. And look at her. She's like, Bill, What are you doing, Bill? What are you doing? Like, what are you looking at?
It's not always been easy.
I mean, she's just
Oh,
staring
no, he
away.
didn't.
First lady, she's
In this regard, their relationship
Fucking hell, mate. I mean, this is like, I mean, that kind of endears you a little bit to him, right? If he wasn't such a perv, if he was just stealing like a sneaky glance, right? If you didn't know about his previous extracurricular activities, about him being such a big fucking sex demon and pervert, having all these extracurricular affairs, and then he's just kind of staring at like a younger lady, right? Very attractive, kind of like a moment for an older guy to recapture his youth, I guess, right? Like a moment like that. And Hillary kind of catches him. Yeah, it's kind of like a sitcom moment, right? Like, oh, like, Bill, what are you doing? Why are you looking at the young lady for? It could be like a very sweet moment, him just trying to relive his youth through his imagination. But because everything that you fucking know, because of the amount of suicides surrounding the Clintons, the amount of involvement with the Epsteins of the world, of the Ghislaine Maxwells of the world, of the atrocities that have been caused by the Clintons, it just makes it look more creepy.
has been forced to weather many storms, one of which came in 1992, just as he first attempted to get into the White House. This began with Jennifer Flowers, a woman who worked for the state of Arkansas and had been a cabaret dancer. Once he started his campaign, Flowers claimed that they had been in a relationship for 12 years.
I mean, 12-year affair with Bill Clinton, the secret love tapes that prove it. So this woman fucking filmed herself doing all sorts of shit with Bill Clinton, doing all sorts of heinous acts with Bill Clinton. It's wild, it's crazy. This is what the president of the United States gets up to in his spare time.
While he was governor of Arkansas, things got even worse when a former state employee sued him, claiming he had used government resources to fund his affairs. Almost as soon as the allegations came out, the Clintons banded together, with Hillary telling reporters that it's not true and that we just have to trust the American voter to make up his or her mind. This prompted Bill and Hillary to appear on 60 Minutes right after the Super Bowl to deny everything, making sure that they had the biggest audience possible when they did it.
Who is Jennifer Flowers? How would you describe your relationship?
Very limited, but until this, friendly, but limited.
She's alleging a 12-year affair with you.
That allegation is false.
And then, you have, like, on 60 Minutes, obviously one of the biggest TV shows in America, right? Especially during the 80s, 90s. Hillary is right there by her man's side. Because for her, it was all about the political career that she wanted her husband to be involved with, that she wanted herself to be involved with, right? They are literally, she's just pushing for power here, okay? And you can see the determination in her eyes. This is a battle of wills and power.
I'm not sitting here as some little woman standing by my.
I mean, look at her eyes. I mean, this is a woman that you don't want to fuck with. This is a organized crime leader, okay? This is somebody who has a lot of power, and she's letting you the fuck know what is going on.
A man like Tammy Wynette. I'm sitting here because I love him, and I respect him, and I honor what he's been through and what we've been through together. And if that's not enough for people, then heck, don't vote for him.
However, Jennifer...
I mean, crazy. That is absolutely crazy the way that she goes on about it, right? Like, you can tell this is a marriage of political maneuvering power. This is a marriage of two people trying to get grips of themselves in a way that they are like she could see the vision. You have to understand about Hillary. She can see the vision of how much power and opportunity is available to her if they play the fucking cards right, okay? And the thing with Bill is, like, he's just a live wire, okay? He's just going to do whatever his dick wants to fucking do. He is just fucking ready to blow and penetrate his load into anybody who anybody that catches his fucking eye, really, right? Like, he is absolutely wild and out of control.
Jennifer wasn't willing to concede or back down, claiming that he was clearly being deceptive.
The truth is, I loved him. Now he tells me to deny it.
I mean, if you look at her compared to Hillary, I mean, you can kind of see, right? I mean, Hillary looks like the good little girl, right? She looks like a librarian. She looks like a bookworm, right? And then you have this woman here with a fucking, permed out blonde hair, big fucking uh earrings, her shoulder padded jackets.
The problem
This is a hot version of Hillary if you really look at it.
of Bill and other women are central to the Arkansas years and the marriage of Bill and Hillary Clinton.
Well, I'm sick of all of the deceit, and I'm sick of all of the lies.
The rumors about other women that are more than rumors, they're based on fact.
He is absolutely lying.
Despite the minor carnage that it caused, the Democratic candidacy was still secured on the way to the presidency, which he won with almost 400 electoral votes. Only years on, Clinton admitted in a deposition that there had been a sexual relationship between the two, but Jennifer is still on his neck years later, suggesting that he'd harassed her and others.
I'm advocating that Bill be prosecuted for his sex crimes, just like Harvey Weinstein has been arrested and Bill Cosby is.
I mean, this is the same company that he's being thrown into, right? He is being told that this guy is a live wire, like Harvey Weinstein, like Bill Cosby. I mean, two of the most heinous sex offenders in recent history. This is the victims of the victims of Me Too, the people who the Me Too movement, that the Me Too movement brought forward to the limelight and uncovered, the predators, the solicitors, the people causing the crimes. Okay, the accused, right? I mean, the main culprits were Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby, right? Like who else kind of was at the back end of that, right? If you think of the Me Too movement, you really think of Weinstein and Cosby, right? Like they're the main two. Maybe R. Kelly, you can think, right? But during that period in between 2014 2016, like it was mainly those three people. And for somebody to say, Clinton was involved in, at the same level as those three, it kind of puts into perspective, right, that the power that this person had, the effects, and the reach his crimes really involved. Okay, because he should be trialed the same way. I mean, those three people lost everything, right? Those three people done. There's no coming back for those three people. And still, literally, Bill Clinton still is able to walk around like, he is the Teflon Don, like nothing has ever fucking happened to him.
Is about to be sentenced. Why not Bill Clinton? He's nervous. That's why he's acting that way. And, probably has some health problems, and it's affected his ability to respond as well as he used to be and tell lies as good as he used to.
Well, you were a young woman, 27 years old, when you first, got involved with him, and you started having this relationship. At some point, you've now decided that it became a non-consensual harassment relationship, which doesn't really comport with how you originally classified this.
So obviously, that when she first came out, she came out saying and telling the media that she just had a sexual relationship, that she had an affair with this man, right? And now, years later, she comes out and says that it was non-consensual, that he actually, like a predator, wore her down, hunted her down, coerced her into, getting into a sexual relationship, which, now, I mean, years later, her two versions of the same story don't match up, and obviously now people are asking like, hang on, what the fuck is going on? Like did did he coerce you, or did you willingly enter into this relationship?
So now, how are you all these years later claiming that it was non-consensual at some point?
It's very interesting because back in 1977, when I met Bill, we didn't have the laws to protect us. We as women, I was in the workplace in a man's world. I just had to do the best that I could. When I first met Bill Clinton, it was when I was sent out on my first story by myself after my training.
The thing is, though, you have to remember, right? Like, I mean, Bill Clinton, is he a predator? Yes, probably, right? Like, probably yes. I mean, I'm not a fucking judge, right? Even though maybe I should. I'm no judge, but most probably Bill Clinton is a fucking predator. Okay, there's just too many fucking stories, across his fucking life. Too many people he's involved with. I mean, he's friends with Jeffrey Epstein. That just says it all, really. Okay, so is he a predator? In my eyes, the way that I view the world, yes, he is a predator. Okay, but also you have to remember that he's also the president of the most powerful country, the superpower of the world, America. He is the president, the most powerful position in the United States. Okay, and it's a very well-known thing that women are attracted to positions of power. Okay, it's very well known that women are attracted to people who are able to, hold such offices. Okay, they are attracted to a man who is in that position. Okay, a powerful position. And I mean, if this was a fucking plumber, right, like a plumber in Arizona who took advantage of a young lady, right, you'd be like, yeah, put him in fucking jail. But the woman is also complicit in one way. Okay, like her attraction was genuine, right? That we can all fucking, we should be able to acknowledge that her attraction was genuine. But then him having this power and abusing it, that's where the crime is, right? But I mean, do I believe that this was him coercing her, or because in his mind, if she's giving him flirty signals because she's attracted to the position of the president of the United States, right? His power that position holds, I can believe that. And him just being like, okay, well, I'll hold the position, you're attracted to me and you want to give me some pussy, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it. Whether he should be able to do it or not, that's a judgment of morals. But I do think both sides are complicit here. I mean, it's not a clear cut story, even though he is a piece of shit because he's involved with fucking Epstein. This incident with this lady, I don't know, man. I believe both parties kind of consenting to it. So I'd rather believe the first version of her events, that they just entered into an affair because she was willing to, because she was genuinely attracted to him.
With my cameraman. He came on to me that night. I told him to knock it off. He proceeded to continue to come on to me.
I mean, could you imagine like that? Like, this is the president of the United States. This is one of the most powerful people in the world, right? I mean, even this is before he was. This was during him running as candidate for the Democratic Party, right? So he was entering a very powerful position. And she's just telling him, like, knock it off. Like, nobody knows who the fuck this woman is, right? And she's just saying, knock it off, right? I think years later, she is now embellishing the story. Her first version of the story probably counts, and was more accurate, that they both just entered a affair. Okay, so in this very instance, you kind of got to give it to Bill and be like, okay, I mean, you are a sex pest, but it was a consensual relationship.
For 3 months before I decided that I wanted to have a relationship with him, which at that point was
I mean, they're in her own words. So the moment when they did have a relationship, she said, when I did want to have a relationship. So even she confirms that, that okay, maybe he was being extra flirty, it being inappropriate, but in the end he kind of wore her down, and then she did commit into a consensual relationship. Whether that is right or wrong, I mean, he has a position of power. There was harassment leading up to the events of their relationship. However, when the relationship happened, it was consensual, right? And then this is the thing, right? Like when you have power, when you have wealth involved, um, it's not straight cut. It is not straight cut. Relationships are not straight cut. They can be messy. They can be complicated. And this moment it is. And I believe now, in her old age, she is regretting her actions when she was a young woman.
Sensual, but in today's standards, and in hindsight, it was definitely sexual harassment. I was a little bit ashamed.
I mean, it's either sexual harassment or it's not, right? Like, I mean, it doesn't change. I think the way harassment is, reported and you know treated in court has changed, but the definition of it now, looking back, that has not changed. So she is kind of going out on a limb. She is, going out and changing her story in a way that I believe she's trying to kind of whitewash her reputation.
Ashamed to admit that because, in a way, I mean, I felt guilty.
However, this was no isolated incident. Former Arkansas State employee Paula Jones sued him for harassment in 1994, leading to Bill dishing out an $850,000 settlement, but never admitting to any wrongdoing. Around the same time, another woman by the name of Juanita.
I mean, if you're fucking giving out $850,000, right, and you don't think nothing went wrong, I mean, that is a wild statement to make, right? Like, obviously he's fucking guilty of something, right? He's literally paying hush money, and especially if you adjust it for fucking inflation, like $850, that is a lot of money in today's fucking money.
Broderick emerged with even darker allegations about how the future president had forced himself on her in the 70s.
Did you think his interest in you at the time was personal or professional? I thought it was professional completely. So you thought this was going to be a business meeting? Yes, I did. Yes, I really did. Did you have any qualms at all about him coming to the room? I was a little bit uneasy, but I felt a real friendship toward this man, and I didn't really feel any danger in him coming to my room. And then all of a sudden, he turned me around and started kissing me, and that was a real shock. What did you do? I first pushed him away. I just told him, no, please don't do that. And I forget, it's been 21 years, Lisa, and I forget exactly what he was saying. It seems like he was making statements that would relate to, well, did you not know why I was coming up here? And I told him at the time, I said, I'm married and I have other things going on in my life. And
so this is him going after a married woman. Like, this is a very powerful man going after a married woman, right? And she kind of doing the right thing, pushing him away, being like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm a married woman.
And this is something that I'm not interested in. Had you that morning or any other time given him any reason to believe you might be receptive? No, none whatsoever. Then what happens?
This is kind of like a controversial take, but a woman cannot help but submit to power. Right, like if this is a man who is holding such a powerful position, even if she verbally says no, in the end, her body kind of betrays her, which is why a lot of these like a lot of these stories are the same. Like Bill goes in there, he makes an advance, the woman says no, but in the end, he kind of wears her down, and she ends up sleeping with him. Like, why does that happen? Okay, and it's a very most people cannot handle this conversation, right? Because it's kind of a rapey conversation, right? That a lot of women allow this for themselves to be overpowered by a man in a position of power, because their bodies are turned on by it, right? So physically they're turned on by it, but mentally they might not consent to it, right? Where does that fucking fall on the spectrum? Right, it's an interesting take. Okay, it's a very controversial take, and only people like myself are even willing and allowing themselves to kind of speak out on it. Right, but it's a scenario that very often happens. Okay, a man in a position of power with a subordinate, with someone who holds less power, that the man makes an advance, okay, and normally the woman shuts it down, great. And at that point, if a woman shuts it down, fuck off, walk away. You got plenty of other options, right? But the man kind of, for some reason, repeatedly keeps making these advances, But somewhere along the line, that advancement gets worn down, and the woman does reciprocate. The woman does, you know, allow it to happen, and that's a very important statement. Like you know, she fights off against the advances, but at some stage it switches, and she's like she allows it to happen, and it's never at no stage do I believe with these examples that Bill forced himself onto these women. I do believe that he wore them down to the point of where they kind of, you know, were just like, okay, fuck it, let's just do it. But is that acknowledgement, and is is it consensual at that point? Even though you know, if you wear someone down enough and they say yes, is it consensual, right? Because is it, you know, when Coca-Cola, you know, blasts their logo everywhere across the world in your face, you know, and you're like, no, I'm not gonna drink Coke, no, I'm not gonna drink Coke, but you see it everywhere, right? And after a while, you're like, fuck it, I'll just have a Coke. Like, is it the same thing, right? And obviously, look, it's a very controversial take to have. I understand, and most people are fucking idiots. So this conversation can never happen with a normal fucking person. However, it is something to think about. And if you're somebody who's like, "Oh, that's a horrible thing to say," I understand what you say, what you mean by that. But at the same time, if you can't hold that thought in your head and have that nuanced take and think about it in a nuanced way, you're also just too stupid. I'm sorry to say it, right? Because it's a horrible crime that we are talking about. But if you can't explore it in some sort of way, um, you know, you're never going to get to the truth of what human nature is. And human nature is disgusting and it is horrible. Okay, you have to remember that.
Then he tries to kiss me again. And the second time he tries to kiss me, he starts biting on my lip.
I mean, that's just horrible. I mean, is she crying now, years later? Was this her reaction during the moment, during the time? I mean, you know, I mean, this is something that we'll never be able to know, understand, because obviously you don't want to fucking interview her either to know exactly what happened. If she's breaking down to fucking tears every moment, you know, she's reminded of the scenario.
The statute of limitations meant that Juanita couldn't press charges, and she stayed quiet for years because she didn't think anyone would believe her. By the middle of his presidency, the list kept growing. Clinton was reportedly linked to former Miss America Elizabeth Ward Grayson, Maria Furtwängler, Canadian politician Belinda Stronach, and Patricia Duff, among others.
I mean, so at the moment, I mean, having all these women, right, all these affairs, it seems like, why are they having these affairs with Bill Clinton? Okay, it is because he's a very powerful man. You know, he was a senator, you know, a governor of Arkansas, whichever, right? Like, I forget. He became the head of the Democrat Party. He became president of the United States. That's a very powerful position. Women are attracted to power. He positioned himself in a way to get these women. Okay, so having these affairs, you know, is believable. You know, him and these women being attracted to his power, his station in life, his job, right, makes kind of sense at this moment, right?
Most of it got brushed under the rug, but there was one he couldn't shake: Monica Lewinsky. You know the.
I mean, this is the famous one. I mean, I even remember when I was fucking at school. You know, I think I was like 9 years old when I first fucking heard about this story on the news. It's wild.
Here's the short version. An anonymous tip led investigators to look into Clinton's relationship with the White House intern. On January 7th, 1998, Monica signed an affidavit, basically saying that nothing had happened. What she didn't know was that her colleague, Linda Tripp, had been secretly recording their conversations, which proved she lied. Clinton denied everything, including during the Paula Jones lawsuit hearings. Then January 21st hit, and the story of a certain blue dress went global. He kept denying it, with Hillary calling it a right-wing conspiracy.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
On January 27th, Hillary Clinton echoed the denial, arguing in an interview on the Today Show that the charges came from a
vast right-wing conspiracy that has been
I mean, this is wild, isn't it? Like the fact that there's wild right-wing conspiracies going as far back as to the Clinton administration. Like, it is absolutely crazy that the Democrats have always blamed right-wing conspiracies, even if they are found to be true in the end.
Firing against my husband since the day he announced for president.
However, not everyone was willing to play ball, and after Lewinsky's mother handed over the blue dress, Lewinsky would later sign an immunity deal to testify. Eventually, Clinton consented to give a blood sample to prove if what was on the dress was his, and soon, he admitted to inappropriate intimate contact.
In a deposition in January, I was asked questions about my relationship with Monica Lewinsky. While my answers were legally accurate, I did not volunteer information. Indeed, I did have a relationship with Ms.
I mean, he's like, yeah, my answers were legally accurate, but I also, withheld some information. I mean, this guy is just like a fucking child, isn't he? He is literally somebody who just, got caught red-handed, and he's trying to whitewash his reputation. He should have just come out and owned it. I mean, how much more respect would he would have gained if he was like, yeah, I'll fuck it. Like, I'm the president of the United States. I'll do what the fuck I want. Okay. All right. I protect the United States. I make sure the economy is okay. And sometimes I'm going to have fucking sex with my secretary. Okay. Is that fucking crime? Is that crime? No. Like, do you know what I mean?
Lewinsky that was not appropriate. In fact, it was wrong.
This gave way to an October 8th impeachment inquiry before he was eventually acquitted on both charges during the trial at the Senate. While Clinton apologized and moved on, without so much as dropping his approval ratings in the way you'd expect, Monica was dragged through the mud and basically became a meme before they existed. In the years that have passed, Clinton has proven that he clearly regrets it.
We all bring our baggage to life, and sometimes we do things we shouldn't do, and I told her exactly what happened. When it happened, I said, I feel terrible about it.
I was so, personally hurt, and, I can't believe this. I can't believe you.
And this is the problem, right? Like, Hillary knew all these years about what happened, okay? As it was happening, she denied it. I mean, you saw her, she called it a right-wing conspiracy, right? The Monica Lewinsky affair was a right-wing conspiracy, that they were just they were just out to get her husband. Okay, so she stood by him, she swept his infidelities under the carpet, and now she's like, oh, how hurt she is, how it affected her. It's bullshit. You knew it was true at the time, right? You swept it under the carpet, and now you're trying to play the victim here. This is why people don't like her. Okay, because a moment where she could share her truth, right? She could have just come out and said, look, I was embarrassed about what happened, and I went along with it because I thought the rest of the world would turn against me and look down on me, and in a moment of weakness, to protect my own ego, I went along with whatever Bill wanted. However, inside it burnt me up. It really hurt my soul. It really hurt me. And the way I look at my whole worldview, everything's changed, right? Like, if she was vulnerable like that, I think a lot of people would resonate with her. But every moment she uses to her own advantage, like she's doing in this moment, years after the fucking affair happened.
Lied.
She said, well, you have to go tell your daughter. She said, that's worse than me. And so I did that.
Through the lens of Me Too now, do you think differently or feel more responsibility?
No, I felt terrible then.
But once again,
I mean, Bill, like, couldn't you just fucking come out and said, yeah, I feel much more terrible now, because the world's moved on, everything's a little bit more, the world's changed, the way that we see, these types of affairs, these types of abuse of power, power dynamics in the workforce against the opposite sex. He's like, no, I felt quite terrible back then. I mean, these people are just making PR blunders after PR blunders.
It hasn't prohibited him from holding positions of power or being highly regarded as a statesman. For many politicians, allegations like that would be liable to a death sentence. But the man that journalists have been calling Sick Willie since the 80s has been accused of a lot worse without so much as damaging his credentials. Over the years, Bill Clinton has been linked to all kinds of shady situations, but one of the more eyebrow-raising ones involves a man named Barry Seal, a former commercial pilot who turned drug trafficker and was reportedly being paid $1 million per fight to smuggle for Pablo Escobar's Medellin cartel. Now, the reason Clinton's name gets pulled into this is because the whole operation was running out of Mena Airport in Arkansas, which happened.
I mean, this is like basically why you can consider this guy being involved in organized crime. I mean, I put in the title, is it politicians or gangsters, right? And because they have links and possible, being part of an operation of smuggling fucking drugs into the United States, okay? Whether it's on behalf of the CIA, right? Whether they're smuggling cocaine, buying it from Pablo Escobar, allowing him to drop it off into Arkansas, which is where he was. He was running that state. Do you get what I mean? He was a leader of that state, and he was allowing this to happen on his fucking turf. So if he wasn't aware that this was happening, that is huge negligence on the on the leadership within Arkansas during that time, which was he was the head of, right? He was a governor, he was the senator, whichever position, okay, but he was the one who was in charge of that state, and he allowed this shit to fucking happen on his watch. That is a huge, misconduct on his watch, right? And if he allowed it, that's even fucking worse. So either way, this guy cannot win. He's either incompetent or he's a fucking criminal.
To be right in his backyard as governor, and was widely regarded as a hub for all kinds of illegal activity at the time. Barry wasn't just moving drugs either. He was also reportedly tied to the Iran-Contra affair, which involved the US government secretly trying to arm rebel forces, looking to overthrow the Sandinistas in Nicaragua, with me.
I mean, this is one of the big things, okay? He was secretly trying to arm rebel forces in Nicaragua. Okay, he was part of Iran Contra, right, running fucking smuggling operations through the state of Arkansas, which he was head of. And again, this comes back to the CIA kind of being the secret organization running American intelligence agencies on behalf of the wealthy, powerful individuals, and they probably saw someone very talented in Bill Clinton and Hillary. And they were like, look, if you guys play ball, if you toe the party line, if you do as we tell you to do, that you will have a great career in politics, right? You'll be world famous. Will push you towards the White House, possibly high level positions running the country. But you have to do our bidding. You have to do as we say, okay? And this is why you cannot trust the people who are in charge of the world. You cannot trust the people who are in charge running the countries. This is why I'm bringing together 100 people who want to be the new rulers of the world, build new kingdoms, who want to do something new, okay? Because the world, the way it's been run the last fucking 30, 40, 50 years, it's disgusting. It's absolutely going to shit. And for humanity to survive, for it to have any type of future, to be led to a new dawn, okay, the next evolution, the next phase of humanity, it takes new ideas, new people to be in charge, okay? And usually people who are psychopaths, usually who are people who are narcissists, who are sociopaths, they find themselves into these high level positions. Okay, Bill Clinton is clearly a narcissist. Okay, Hillary is clearly a psychopath, if not a psychopath, right? Sorry, a sociopath or a psychopath. Right. And because these people don't have any self-doubt, because they don't have any self-awareness, self-fears, right, that they are able to push themselves into these high level positions. Whereas people like me and you, people who have self-doubts, people who kind of are aware of our limitations, are aware of our flaws, and we have these intrusive thoughts, thinking whether we are good enough, whether we deserve certain things in life, okay, whether we're good people, bad people. We have these internal battles, and because we are constantly trying to have this internal monologue and battle within ourselves, that we never kind of move on. We never kind of are able to reach those levels where we contribute and help the rest of the people, because we for whatever reason, you have these limited thoughts about yourself, where you do doubt yourself, where you do have fears about how other people will perceive you, and because you have this battle constantly, you never go forward in life because you cannot move forward unless you can't have these high level positions unless you get you come to terms with the fact that you are a good person. You are somebody who wants good for the world, who thinks greatly for people, and this is why you deserve to be in charge of the world. All right, because you're somebody who is able to overcome this shit, which is what I help my clients with. And because we have good intentions, because we do want to create a scenario for the world where good people are in charge, because we are striving for this glory. It should be us who are in charge of the world. Do you get what I mean? Uh, and because it won't just be you by yourself. It will be me and the other 100 kings that I've got here at Royal King at the Royal Instinct, the Royal Alliance of Kings that I'm building. Okay, the Amicis that I'm forming, because I'm bringing together 100 kings, 100 kingdoms, 100 leaders, 100 subject matter experts to bring about a new dawn, a new way of living. Because I'm doing all that, together, 100 people, you'll be part with together with 98 other people, me included, 99 with me, 100 with you, that will allow us to reach the next phase of humanity. Okay. That is why we will be successful. That is why we deserve to win, because we are the ones who are putting ourselves into the next into a situation where we deserve to be the next leaders of the world.
Allegedly being used to train those operatives and even fly weapons over to Iran. When the scandal started gaining traction, Clinton's response was basically that it wasn't his jurisdiction and that he had no knowledge of any of it, which plenty of people weren't exactly convinced by.
But tell me, did they tell you that this had to be in existence because of national security?
Let me answer the question. No, they didn't tell me anything about it. They didn't say anything to me about it. The airport in question and all the events in question were the subject of state and federal inquiries. It was primarily a matter for federal jurisdiction. The state really had next to nothing to do with it. The local prosecutor did conduct an investigation based on what was within the jurisdiction of state law. The rest of it was under the jurisdiction of the United States attorneys who were appointed successively by previous administrations. We had everybody who's ever looked into it knows that.
However, another smuggler by the name of Roger Reeves suggested that Clinton knew vastly more than he was letting on.
So he went to work. He must have flown 30 loads for me before I got arrested.
Okay. And the reason why Arkansas was a safe place for him was because he was friends with Bill Clinton, who at the time was the governor of Arkansas.
So this guy, he's like, obviously collecting kickbacks, right? Like, taking money on the table, be like, okay, yeah. Fucking do it here, because nobody, Arkansas is a small state in America. Okay, like nothing ever fucking happens in Arkansas. Okay, so this was like the perfect place for Bill to allow these things to happen. Okay, the other thing you have to understand is, like, for a governor of Arkansas like Bill Clinton to then reach and become the president of the United States. Okay, it's not like he was in charge of such a major state like Texas, like LA, like New York, Florida. Like he was not in charge of like a massive influential state. He was in charge of one of the states that's seen as lesser. Okay, it's kind of believed that the CIA told Bill Clinton that this was going to happen, and that Bill Clinton was like, okay, he was like, I'll play ball, right? If you want me to do this, you're the CIA. I'll allow this to happen. And because he allowed it to happen, the CIA was like, oh, okay, this guy is going to do our bidding. He's going to do what we say, which is why he was then able to be pushed into a position where he ended up being the head of the Democratic political party, and then ended up running for president, which and then he was able to win. And the CIA, if you look into the past of the CIA, it's kind of run on behalf of the wealthiest families of America. It is run on behalf of kind of dictating where American media, how it presents its news, how America is run. And they found and plucked this young guy, this charismatic guy who's able to convey a message that the CIA approved of, and because he allowed these initial drug runs to happen through his state, that they kind of repaid him in the future. Was like, okay, like if you do this, then you'll have a very successful, high level political career. So is it the CIA who is behind Bill Clinton? Right, that is a question we need to find out.
And when he wasn't the governor, he was still the strong man there.
Right. So according to your book, Barry Seal paid millions in bribes to the Clintons to allow him to actually land the cocaine in Mena, Arkansas.
Each load, I paid $50,000 supposedly to somebody at the top. And he said, I'm going to have supper with the governor tonight. That's all he would say. He never.
Okay. So it's not like he said that he was bribing Bill Clinton.
He didn't say it.
He kind of inferred it in a way?
Yeah, completely, yes.
Okay.
I cannot get caught. Then we look back on what happened. We see that he couldn't get caught.
Yeah. Okay. And at one point, Barry was being paid $1 million per flight?
Yes, exactly. He got $2,000 a kilo, so 500 kilos is $1 million, yes.
Eventually, Seal began working for the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration to avoid jail time, but was shot dead in 1986 at a safe house in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, by an apparent Medellin cartel hitman. But there's plenty of people who've suggested that some other forces may have been at play. Now, before we get into this, it's worth saying up front that what we're covering is largely theoretical, but there are a lot of people who genuinely believe that the pattern of people in the Clinton circle dying under suspicious circumstances is no coincidence. The idea even has a name, the Clinton body count, which is a theory that the Clintons had people silenced before they could implicate them in any wrongdoing. And
I mean, this is a wild accusation, okay? And this is something I was aware of, that all these people mysteriously pass away in dubious circumstances, who are related to Bill and Hill, and they literally just throw them into body bags, like it is a sport, like it is just fun for them.
It's been floating around for decades with a surprisingly long list of names attached.
I mean, look at these names, right? James McDough, Mary Mahoney, Vince Foster, C. Victor Razor, Montgomery Razor, Ron Brown, Paul Tully, Ed Wiley, Jerry Parks, James Bunch, James Wilson, Kathy Ferguson, Bill Shilton, Gandhi Bow, Florence Martin, Suzanne Coleman, Paula Grobber, Danny Kaslora, Paul Wiltshire, John Parnell Walker, Barbara Wise, Charles Meisner, Dr. Stanley Hurd, Barry. I mean, the list goes on, right? And you can't help but feel like that every time that you read like a female's name, that it is just like another woman that Bill sexually harassed. Do you get what I mean?
To it. One of the most cited cases is Arkansas lawyer Vince Foster, a key figure in the early Clinton administration who was found on July 20th, 1993 with a gunshot wound to his head, ruled a suicide despite reported inconsistencies in the autopsy, and Clinton aides being seen searching his office.
I mean, that headline that Hillary did it. Could you imagine like that Hillary, like she's a gangster behind all? I mean, because at this moment, like Bill just sounds like a horny, bumbling fool, right? Like, that the true mastermind of this political career is kind of Hillary, right? Because during the 90s, I mean, nobody was going to vote a woman to be president of the United States, right? I mean, in the 80s, you had Margaret Thatcher. She became Prime Minister of England, which was, which is very progressive. But she was I mean, Hillary Clinton has a Margaret Thatcher energy, right? There's something very Margaret Thatcher-esque about her, the way that she conducts herself, the way she wears pantsuits, the way that she, behaves, and in this relationship between Bill and Hillary, you kind of feel like Hillary is the one who wears the trousers. Bill just seems like a horny fucking, guy who's like, yeah, okay, what do you want me to say? Right, okay, and somebody's going to suck my dick later. Do you get what I mean? Like, he just wants a blowjob at the end of the night from another woman that's not Hillary. And Hillary's like, okay, like, I'll let you have your, a little romp tonight. I've got a little lady lined up for you as long as you do what I want you to tell you, okay? Let's say these lines to the American public, and then I'll I'll facilitate whatever proclivities that you have. Because by himself, Bill Clinton, you could never imagine him to be that ambitious that he wanted to be American president. Like I don't believe it. It is Hillary who's behind him, and she's the one who's pushing for it, right? And you can also imagine that she's the one conducting the events. Okay, she's conducting and seeing the landscape, and then when somebody pops up who has information or is about to break a news story or knows any intel that will kind of derail the Clinton story, that any potential hiccups and opposition towards the Clintons, towards their final goal of Hillary being in the White House. You can kind of imagine Hillary coming up in the middle of the night, wearing fucking black gloves, a balaclava, and popping a fucking gun straight to your fucking head and blowing your fucking brains out. It is very Tony Soprano-esque. It is very Goodfellas, the way that she conducts herself.
Shortly after he died. Foster was also tied to the Whitewater scandal, a real estate deal the Clintons were involved in that cost taxpayers around $60 million, with Kenneth Starr leading a multi-year investigation.
Why is a real estate deal between the Clintons and whoever, right, costing the US taxpayers $60 million? It's absolutely wild that their actions are affecting American taxpayers.
Where Foster could have been a key witness. Then there's James McDougal, another Whitewater figure who agreed to testify for the prosecution and was serving a prison sentence when he suddenly died in Fort Worth, Texas, with speculation that he may have been denied proper medical attention. Ron Brown, Clinton's Secretary of Commerce, was under corruption investigation when he died in a plane crash in Croatia, and the story got darker when a military pathologist reported a circular wound on his skull that looked like it could have been a bullet hole.
I mean, that is wild, right? Like all these people who find some way to be the opposition to Bill and Hill, right, end up in these dubious circumstances where they end up dying. Like, it is absolutely crazy. Let's jump into this other one little video when we've only got like a couple more minutes left that I wanted to show you.
Jay has downs. They're at the gate, and they're off. Jumping out in the lead is under 8.
Nightmares. That. Here. Goodness gracious. So naughty. I mean, how can you possibly say that? We heard that she committed suicide. Well, listen, guys, I'm just going off of the words of her father, okay? I don't know Virginia.
Do you know what? Let's not watch this video. Let's just stick to the original one.
Solaro was reportedly deep into investigating a wide-reaching scandal he called the Octopus, which allegedly implicated the Clintons, and was found dead with his wrist slashed just before publishing, with his notes gone, and people close to him insisting.
I mean, the fact that this guy ends up with his wrist slashed, right? They're doing it mob style. Whoever's killed this person, okay, and obviously tried to make it look like a suicide. It's not like one wrist is slashed, okay. Think about it. Like if you was to slice one wrist, and then to have the same amount of effort and power to then take the knife in the hand where you just slit your wrist to then slit the other, like it seems kind of impossible, right? I mean, I'm not somebody who's ever committed suicide, obviously, right? But it does seem that they are also trying to send a message, right? Like a stigmata, like that don't fuck with us, right? Because we will get you one way or another. Like, it does seem very odd and very weird the way that they go about sending a message to the general public.
That he had shown no signs of being suicidal. White House intern Mary Mahoney was shot and killed at a Starbucks in what was ruled a robbery, except no cash was taken, leading theorists to believe.
I mean, that's crazy, right? Like, it's a robbery, but no cash was taken, but somebody linked to the Clintons mysteriously just ends up dying. What a coincidence. Like, I mean, at some stage, I'm sorry, like, this is a setup. This is fucking done by design.
She had been about to come forward with damaging information. Jerry Parks, former head of Clinton's security detail, was shot multiple times shortly after Vince Foster's death, with reports that his father had been building a private dossier on Clinton, and that Jerry himself had told people he feared for his life. And DNC staffer Seth Rich was shot dead in what was called a botched robbery, despite his wallet, watch, and phone all being left on him.
I mean, this is absolutely crazy. So you're associated with the Clintons, you're getting paid, to look away at the dealings, and then a few years later down the line, once they kind of once you've seen enough of the shit that they are involved with, they kind of just get rid of you, right? They'll just allegedly they'll just shut you down and disappear you, and you'll die under dubious circumstances, like in a robbery where nobody's personal belongings actually get stolen. Okay, it's absolutely crazy.
Unconfirmed reports suggesting that he was behind the DNC WikiLeaks leak. The Clintons turn my stomach. They're so revolting. This administration has the most blood on its hands. In previous eras, the concept of a Clinton orchestrated death squad would seem completely unfeasible and would be written off as just some absurd idea by a conspiracy theorist, some of whom have always come after Hillary in particular.
But let me get serious here for a minute, folks. It's not giant wasps that live under the UN building. It's roaches. And the thing about it is that Hillary Clinton, and this is serious high-level intel, Hillary Clinton is actually the mother of all roaches, and she secretes giant bubbling cysts that themselves are then mother roaches that go out under government facilities and then give birth to all other species of bed bugs, roaches, and government bureaucrats.
I mean, when fucking Alex Jones says fucking salacious, ludicrous shit like that, you can't, this is what gives a bad rep to conspiracies. And then you have to also question, like is Alex Jones also a industry plant? But is he somebody who kind of wants to point out at the conspiracies that are being fed into the mainstream news? They get him, right? The CIA get him to speak about these conspiracies, but also make these ludicrous remarks, like her being like a lizard queen, like a cockroach who lays eggs and larvae that give spawn, that births further more fucking roaches who go on to give births and infiltrate American society, right? Like, it is like, I mean, are we like is it conspiracy within a conspiracy? All right, like, where does the conspiracy end? And this is a problem, okay? Because when you have somebody like Alex Jones who reports on very credible things, like he has said a lot of things that are right, he also then comes along and says something absolutely fucking stupid, which doesn't help the cause, which doesn't help the story move further along, and actually sets it back because you make it look like absolute fucking ludicrous, crazy, batshit ideas. Right. So even somebody like Alex Jones, like, is he trustworthy? Who knows?
They were all born out of Hillary's lower intestine.
I mean, do we like? I mean, even his face there, like he the way that he says it is like, "Hey, I'm just making a bad joke here." Like that's what his face kind of says to me, right? Whereas if he was just stood on ground, if he kind of just stood making reporting on the correct ideas and information that was available at the time, he would get a lot more credit in mainstream media.
And colon.
But in recent times,
I mean, and colon, and does he have to fucking say that at the end?
We've learned that far-fetched ideas such as an island where the elites act out their sickest fantasies on kids was actually a reality. And coincidentally, there is no bigger name on the list of those attached to the Clintons that met a premature death than Jeffrey Epstein. And at the moment, this is bringing the alleged wrongdoing of the couple back into the light once more. After years of largely evading the scandal, Bill has been put under the microscope for his ties to Epstein, with Pam Bondi suggesting that he must be held to account during her brief period of eagerness to prosecute people in the files.
Well, we know he was on the plane, not only on the plane a couple times, multiple times. He traveled internationally with Jeffrey Epstein, and he was on the plane called the Lolita Express because it supposedly had a bed in there where Jeffrey Epstein had young girls. I
mean, that is wild. So you have a former president of the United States associated high level, right, with Jeffrey Epstein, okay, known sex offender, who has charges against minors, trafficking women, okay, who was known to possibly blackmail people who had in various properties in Miami, in New York, in the Bahamas, in Little St. James, in the Cayman Islands, I believe, his own private island, many rooms where he would film his guests engaging in sexual activities, okay, recording them with women, okay, trafficked women, underage women, possibly boys, um, high celebrity people, politicians, royalty, right? Filming them to in order to blackmail them. Like, it was it a honeypot operation? Okay, was it a blackmail sting operation? And the name mostly associated with him. Okay, there's two names that keep coming up. It's Prince Andrew. Okay, his former Royal Highness Prince Andrew, okay, and Bill Clinton, who seemed to be mostly engaged with this man, who was known as a sex offender, and also he dies in dubious circumstances. Cause of death is suicide. No video footage because the cameras kind of cut out during the events of his suicide. That this guy, like all the other people who ever said anything against the Clintons, also ended up on the wrong side of their
He
wrath.
has been a friend of his, a continuing friend of his for years and years. Contrast that with Donald Trump, who hasn't spoken to him in many years, over a decade, after he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago for bad behavior. So that's the difference there. And I think Americans see the two-tier justice system. But, we don't know. They're saying Clinton has not been to his private island, but he has traveled all over the world with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know why AG Garland and the Justice Department are so quiet on this tonight. They're out there labeling parents domestic terrorists, yet they're saying nothing about this. And these documents were so slow to come out.
Years on from those comments, both Bill and his wife Hillary have been subjected to hearings led by the House Oversight Committees, and to say that they haven't done them any favors is an understatement. For starters, watching him examine certain documents had people freaking out, particularly because it seemed more like he was reminiscing than being repulsed.
I mean, look how happy he is in that picture. Like, this is a man, right? Like, he's 78, 79 years old, right? Like, he is so giddy. His fucking cock doesn't function at this point, right? He's probably got some level of arthritis. His joints and ankles, his body fucking aches and hurts. Okay, he can't probably fucking eat certain foods anymore because he can't digest them properly. He just about takes a fucking shit, right? And then you bring him a fucking image of him, 20, 30, 40 years ago, him having a good time with his good pal Jeffrey, where they're both in a jacuzzi doing God knows what. I mean, if you were somebody that age and you remember that time you shagged that fucking girl, down the pub, because she thought, you had a good funny story about whatever, right? That's a nice moment for somebody his age to reminisce, okay? But then you also know all the dark undertones of this guy killing people, misusing, harassing people, possibly raping people, okay? This is and it's just not a good look for the guy, right? And this is why this is what the face of evil is potentially, right? A fucking old man who has years of abuses behind him, reminiscing and smiling at the atrocities that he caused all throughout his life.
Immediately, people were horrified by what they saw, insisting that people said it was basically a silent confession. Dude's got zero self-control, just sad. And in an attempt to process just how horrifying this was, people have begun naturally making jokes about it.
I like that one. Nope, I do not recall. Nope, never seen these before in my life. Nope. Never.
Just a wink and a nudge, being like, hey, I did it. I did it. But obviously I have to say I can't. So Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Good times. Me and
I
Jeffrey.
miss her. I miss her. Can I get a copy of this for, well, you know. No? All right.
Although it was one of the worst offenses, this wasn't Clinton's only mishap, as he was deemed to be pretty slippery throughout.
Like them young. Why would Epstein say that about you?
Are you asking his opinion? You're asking him to think about why Mr. Epstein would say something about him?
Why would Epstein say that
So
about
she's
the
asking
president?
you to try to be in Mr. Epstein's mind and guess at what Mr. Epstein would have thought about.
First Clinton likes them young, referring to girls.
First of all, that's not true.
What's not true?
That I have any interest in underage.
I didn't say underage. I said young.
But it's still not true.
Is an intern young?
Yes.
As it progressed, he was asked about specific situations relating to.
I mean, that is a crazy picture. Right? That is a crazy picture to look at right here. Okay. You have the most powerful man in the world. The president of the United States. Okay. I mean, that position is very, very powerful. Looking eye to eye with a man who, under dubious circumstances, amassed a massive fortune. Smiling, happily, shaking hands. Okay. And then behind him is the other man's, who, under dubious circumstances, amassed a mass fortune. His right-hand woman, also smiling. I mean, this looks like handlers, doesn't it? Is this the reason why Bill Clinton became president? Are these two behind it? And you have to ask that question. Like, what was, Jeffrey's and Ghislaine's involvement in getting Bill into that position of power? We'll never know. Okay, I mean, Ghislaine is still alive. Jeffrey is dead. Bill is going to keep stum. Ghislaine is also going to keep quiet. Right, she's being tortured. Her life is at risk, and she kind of just wants to see out her last days in, in luxury and quietness.
Epstein, including fielding questions about a notorious painting that.
And this picture here was a front center at Epstein's his mansion in New York. Bill Clinton in the fucking dress.
Disgraced financier had in his house.
To the record, we have a painting that seems to be of you, Mr. President, found in one of Jeffrey Epstein's residences, wearing a, I would categorize it as a famous blue dress worn by the White House intern Monica Lewinsky. So, Mr. President, we are looking at an image of a portrait that is looks to be you, Mr. President, in this blue dress. Can you describe this painting? And
He doesn't need to describe the painting. You just gave him a picture. What's your question?
my question is, are you familiar with this painting? Have you ever seen it in person?
I've never seen it in person.
Then, there was a series of photos that were captured during his many reported journeys with Epstein on his plane, the Lolita Express. And at a certain point, it just got more incriminating with each image.
Have you ever had contact with an individual by the name of Shantae Davies?
I believe Shantae that's a distinctive name, and so I think that was the name of one of his flight attendants.
Okay. She's been described on being on a 2002 Africa trip and providing massages. Was she or any other young female on that trip underage at that time?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did you ever receive a massage or have physical contact from her or anyone else on that trip?
You've seen the pictures. There was one time when I was sitting up and I got a back rub, a neck rub.
Okay.
And I
mean, on one hand, you can say like it's quite. I mean, that picture there is, is an airport lounge. Just getting his traps. They're both fully clothed. She's wearing a jumper. I mean, that you can kind of give it to him there. Like it is just. Just a normal fucking neck massage. There's nothing sexual there. But then under the context of Jeffrey getting naked massages from underage girls, it just looks creepy. I think we'll never get to the bottom of this. I think we all kind of know what happened. I think there is something definitely went wrong there. Something definitely happened, but we'll never find out the truth. But these are the people who are running the world. These are people in charge of the world. Okay, like this is obviously he was a president during the 90s, from 1992 up to 2000 when George Bush won his election. But it's the same types of people, the same types of individuals who are perpetuating, being the ruling elites of the world. Okay. And in the end, this is the system that we live under, and this is why I'm telling you to leave the system. This is why I'm telling you to leave this situation. We need to come together and build a new system, a new situation where we, the people who actually care about the fucking world, care about the people, care about freedoms, are running the world and bringing it into a new phase of civilization, a new phase for human evolution. We are the ones who are in charge. Okay, and if you are somebody who always wants to do something great with your life, this is your moment. You get to choose and decide whether you want to become somebody who is making the world a better place. Okay, become a hero, become seen as somebody who is a leader for the people in the world, or whether you just want to be somebody who fades into the background, becomes an NPC, and does fuck all, does nothing, zero. Okay, it's your choice. The people who choose success, the people who choose to become heroes, to take on the almighty task of bring about, a new phase of human civilization. Those are the people that I want to speak to. Those are the people that I want to work with. And, those are the people that I want to build kingdoms with. We are the ones who will be kings. We are the ones who will be rulers of the world. That is our destiny. That is what we are here for. That is what we are doing. Okay. But that is it for today. Thank you very much, and I will see you tomorrow.